In these clips, we see Japanese ships under attack by Allied bombers. In March of 1943, the Japanese dispatched a convoy of 16 ships loaded with troops and supplies from Rabaul to New Guinea to reinforce its garrison. 8 of the ships were troop and cargo transports, and the other 8 ships were IJN destroyers. They were attacked not by a surface fleet or carrier aircraft, but by the RAAF and General Kenny's 5th Air Force bombers. The Japanese fleet was annihilated. All 8 transports were sunk, as was 4 of the 8 destroyers, for an Allied loss of 6 planes and 13 air crew members killed. The intent of this video is to review the battle tactics which allowed such an effective attack, and the B-25's contribution to the attack by reviewing 2 of the tactical mission reports. These combat narrations are a goldmine of detailed information on the battle conduct. This map shows the area of the battle. The convoy sailed from the Japanese stronghold at Rabaul here. Their goal was to reach the port of Leh here by taking this approximate route. This image from a declassified May 1943 Air Staff Intelligence Impact document shows 8 of the 16 Japanese convoy ships as of March 2, 1943. The picture was taken when the convoy was located around here. These 4 ships are destroyers, and these 4 are troop cargo transports. This page from an April 1943 declassified 5th Air Force Bismarck Sea battle document outlines the ships of the Japanese convoy. The columns are the ship's name, weight class, and number of personnel. The cargo provisions are listed in this table. This image shows the 4 Japanese merchant vessel types from an April 1945 21st Bomber Command Air Intelligence report. The convoy was a mix of Fox and the larger tear ships. A couple of AA guns were mounted on the merchant ships, although it was the primary responsibility of the destroyers to protect the ships. This image from a May 1943 Assistant Chief of Air Staff impact document shows a merchant vessel under a B-25 strafing attack during the March 3rd battle. The caption points out that there are 8 landing craft located on its upper deck, and a whitewater wave is painted here to give the illusion of speed. This model shows a clearer view of the ship's defensive AA guns and the landing craft located on the ship's deck. This image shows a Type B landing craft. These are placed in the water by the ship's cranes. This page outlines characteristics of the IJN Takanami-class destroyer from a June 1945 Navy reference manual on Japanese naval ships. It's armed with 6 4.7-inch to 25mm and 8 24-inch quad-mount guns. This chart outlines the convoy's ship positions when traveling in the daylight under good and poor visibility conditions. The 8 cargo troop ships are aligned here in 2 columns, surrounded by 8 destroyers positioned here. The destroyers are located to provide concentrated anti-aircraft firepower in the forward and beam directions. This formation works best for repelling low-flying or dive-bombing attacking aircraft. This table lists the number and type of 5th Air Force Allied bombers, squadrons, and number of attacking missions. There were 66 B-25s that participated in these attacks. The RAAF's contributions are listed in this table. The P-38s and P-40s that participated in the battle are listed in this table. The attacking Allied planes were sortied from 3 bases located here. Most of the bomber attacks occurred here on March 3, 1943. The key to successfully attacking the 16-ship convoy is to get the convoy to break up and scatter. This starts by attacking the convoy with medium and high-altitude bombers. The ships will separate, diluting their target footprint. The P-38s and P-40 bomber escort fighters will take care of any Japanese fighters. While this medium and high-altitude attack is occurring, low-altitude B-25s, A-20s, and RAAF bow fighters will attack the convoy at mast height altitudes by either skip bombing or precision mast height attacks. The destroyers will have moved far enough away from the transports that the ship's only protection from low-flying bombers is their own defensive AA guns. These can be easily suppressed by the bombers' forward-facing guns. These types of attacks were covered in this channel's video. This page describes the B-25 attacks in general. Each of the low-flying B-25s will start strafing its target with their 8 50-caliber machine guns from a range of 1,000 yards down to 100 yards. This gunfire is effective in suppressing the ship's AA fire. The bombs were released at an altitude of 10 to 15 feet at a bomber speed of 250 miles per hour. 2 bombs were released such that one would skip bounce into the side of the ship and the other would strike the deck of the ship. The B-25 strafing ammo included a repeating mix of 2 armor-piercing, 2 incendiaries, and a tracer. 17,500 rounds were expended during the March 3rd B-24 morning attacks. The same tactics were adopted during the March 3rd afternoon attacks. 8 B-25s scored 10 ship hits out of 24 bombs dropped. Strafing of Japanese and lifeboats and those clinging to floating debris is best accomplished from 500 feet down to target level. This point-blank firing range gave air crews better fire control and accuracy. Yeah, we'll need to discuss this controversial part of the attack. I'm working on that video. This image shows the size of the IJN destroyer's lifeboats. This page outlines the details of a B-25 Attack 1. The B-25C model was flying in a two-plane formation around 3:30 on March 3rd. This image was taken from a 6,000-foot altitude at 6:30 on March 3rd. They observed many burning ships and Japanese in the water. They targeted a destroyer. The B-25 and his wingmen would attack the destroyer 90 degrees from each other. One would attack from the stern and the other broadside, like seen in this image. The B-25 speed during the attack was 220 miles per hour. The destroyer turned as to line up for a broadside attack. No shots were fired from the destroyer. The B-25 strafed the destroyer when within range, and the destroyer was skip-bombed. The bomb struck the side of the ship and detonated. The hit was deemed lethal. He then proceeded to strafe Japanese personnel in the water with his 8 forward-facing 50 caliber guns. Due to visibility issues, though, no assessment of the strafing of personnel can be ascertained, but the attack should be considered effective. The range of this attack was 200 feet down to where the bullet splashes reduced visibility. 4 strafing passes were made. The next target was a burning cargo ship, like the one seen in this image. It was a broadside attack, mast height at a speed of 200 miles per hour. Personnel were on the deck. There was a single 3 to 5 inch gun on the aft deck, not manned. The deck was strafed and the personnel scattered. 2 bombs were dropped, but both missed. He continued to strafe the Japanese in the water. The B-25 carried 3 M64 500-pound general-purpose bombs fitted with the M113 4 to 5 second time-delayed tail fuse. This pilot-drawn map shows a path of the B-25 passing 2 burning destroyers, flying over personnel in the water, and attacking this destroyer by a single skip-bomb broadside, which happened to turn 90 degrees. He then made several passes in this debris field, strafing Japanese personnel in the water, then dropping his 2 remaining bombs, which missed this cargo ship. He then continued to strafe more personnel in the water, and then exited. In this B-25 Attack 2, the pilot selected a cargo vessel. The ship was screened by a cruiser, actually a destroyer, in the southeast direction, and 2 destroyers in the northwest direction. The destroyers were 2 miles away, rendering their anti-aircraft fire ineffective. He flew parallel to the target at a 1,000-foot altitude until the ship's broadside was fully exposed, and then turned into the target at maximum speed. The plane corkscrew maneuvered in altitude and skidded to avoid anti-aircraft fire. When in range, he strafed the ship. The ship's decks were occupied by Japanese troops, and they were shooting at the plane with their rifles. The B-25's 8 50 caliber machine guns outranged their rifles. The bombers' guns decimated these troops. The strafing killed these troops, suppressed the ship's AA guns, and demoralized the ship's crew. The strafing stopped when the bomb needed to be aligned for release. The co-pilot opened the bomb bay doors and the bomb skipped into the ship's side. The bomb's detonation left a hole in the side of the ship. The ship was observed sinking. More details of Attack 2 are given on this page. 3 M64 bombs fitted with a 4 to 5 second time-delayed fuse were carried. The fuse time delay is activated when they strike the water. The B-25C1 model's controls are within the pilot's reach. No bombardier or Norden bomb sight is carried on these missions. The machine gun trigger is on the control wheel, and the bomb release switch is between the pilot and co-pilot. The bomb bay door switch is located on the co-pilot side. Most pilots release the bombs and conduct the strafing. This pilot-drawn image shows the target and the position of the 3 destroyers 1 and 2 miles from the cargo ship. The bomber flew this path to the target, turned here for an attack run, strafing the deck personnel, and bombed the ship from an altitude of 25 feet, exited the area here. The B-25 crews summarized why the March 3rd attacks were so successful in multiple reports. The success of this mission was due to fully coordinated attacks. The high-altitude bombers scattered the convoy ships, and most of the ship's AA fire was directed at the high-altitude bombers. Their near-miss bomb strikes spoiled the ship's high-caliber gun accuracy, and the RAAF's bow fighters were effective in suppressing the ship's smaller-caliber deck guns. Defensive ship fire was almost non-existent for the masthead altitude attack bombers. No fighters attacked the low-altitude B-25s. They were busy scrapping with the P-38s. This type of attack is only successful by both Allied fighters keeping the Japanese fighters busy and medium and high-altitude bombers, which diverted enemy fire, and their bombs, which threw off their aim. The reason why the attacks were so successful was the perfect coordination of the attack. The high altitude and medium bombers created an umbrella which protected the mast height altitude bombers from the Japanese fighters. This crew pointed out that the coordination of high, medium, and low altitude attacks, together with the B-25's 8 forward-facing strafing machine guns, was the secret to the battle's success. These factors led to the annihilation of the convoy. Coordinated multiple altitude bombing attacks with fighter cover made this battle a success. The medium and high altitude bombers diluted enemy fire. While this is going on, low altitude bombers can sneak in and strafe and skip bomb the ships. A sufficient number of attacking bombers are needed, and they need to approach the targets from multiple directions at multiple altitudes. No squadron should be sent individually. Every unit has a role to play in the attack. In this battle, timing was perfect. By the battle's end, all 8 transports were sunk. In addition, 4 of the 8 destroyers for the loss of 2 bombers and 4 fighters. This table summarizes the results for the B-17 and B-25 attacks. The bomb strike rate for the B-17s is 8%, whereas the bomb strike rate for the modified B-25C1s equates to 37%. The strike rate for the B-17s may be lower, but their role in scattering the convoy, taking most of the AA fire, and attracting the Japanese fighters needs to be considered as a critical part of the mission. If you have enjoyed this B-25 Battle of the Bismarck Sea case study review interesting and informative, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, and/or subscribing to World War II U.S. Bombers.